Let's do it.
All right, I think we're good and we're recording. So, welcome, Jared, to our first ever Greaseball sports card meeting.
Greaseball. Let's go.
So, welcome everyone for all those who are watching. We're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on today in the sports card world, as well as this weekend show, and just kind of giving some updates about what's going on, with the MVP race, who we're buying and selling. Shouldn't be too long. As the first video, we're trying some, different avenues before we get on YouTube. So, Jared, we got a big Lansing show. How do you feel about it this weekend?
Pretty excited about it. Obviously, it's going to be at the Lansing Mall. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow or on Saturday. Supposed to be over 100 tables. So that's going to be I think the biggest show in the state of Michigan. So that's going to be nice. Hopefully there's some good traffic there. Weather doesn't look too great this weekend, so I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty busy show with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I think so as well. I think it's going to be a pretty huge show. I know when I was looking at it, 100 tables is crazy because, the Troy show is pretty big, and that only has 45 tables.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what did Troy have? Maybe 50. So we're looking at a show that's basically double plus the size in the mall. So yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a successful show for us.
What are you planning on bringing most out of everything this weekend?
Yeah. So I actually have been organizing and pricing some singles that I've gotten in the last week, kind of with the color-coded system that we do. Going through a big stack of rookies from Donruss that I bought in a few lots of basketball from this year. Focusing on that and, bring some retail product, some supplies. Obviously, that's kind of the big thing right now in the card business is nobody has card supplies. It's they're nowhere to be found. Card shops are running out of them locally here in it's the Tri-City area in Michigan. Really, the only way you would have them is if you are somebody who had bought them in the past and has some leftover or got lucky enough to be able to kind of grab some from a couple different places. So I think that's going to be successful, as it was in Troy again. But really just kind of a menagerie of all different singles, mainly basketball. I did kind of make a little bit of a football box. I did have a lot of people ask about football at the Troy show, and I did not have any. So I did make a football box for this one as well.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I know about supplies. I know Top Loaders was a huge hit at the Troy show. So, hopefully those are getting moved on still. We were lucky enough to score some at the Meyer this past week. So looking good there. I think I'm going to be bringing probably a lot of singles again, just using the showcases that I have, doing low to high end. I've actually been buying a lot of SGC slabs in bulk because that's the only thing we can really buy in bulk right now due to PSA shutting down.
No, yeah, I've seen you buying quite a few sales from some very low end, SGC slabs for $15 to $25. Which for graded stuff right now, I feel like that's the thing that's we're not seeing a rise in it maybe right now. We're gonna see a rise, I think, happen very quickly with PSA. We're both getting an order in the next couple days. I think you're gonna see prices of PSA stuff kind of go through the roof because they're just not they're not grading anything right now. They're not accepting anything in. So if you're somebody who put in the right card at the right time and are getting it back in this bulk. I mean, kind of like your Kevin Garnett tops rookies you had, my Dirk Nowitzki tops rookies I had. I think you're going to continue to see those things kind of explode, maybe even just a short-term explosion. But just because there's not enough stuff coming back from PSA, grading in general is really a disaster right now. Nobody – SGC raised their prices to $75 a card? Was that SGC?
Yeah, SGC raised their prices to $75 a card. HGA is only still accepting 5 cards, and it's like a random draw a week. And then the other company that's really out there is CSG, and that's hit and miss with how you can really grade with them. I'm not really too sure on their prices. But for PSA and Beckett, the only services that are really allowed are like the Super Express, which is $300 for PSA, and I think it's like $250-ish for Beckett.
Yeah, so I mean, really, the only thing that would make sense to grade right now is when you're talking $1,000 cards that you're hoping to get a 10 that maybe came out. A good example was that kid I did the trade with at the show in Troy, and he super expressed a LaMelo Prism variation. We seen the damage on the corner. I ended up doing a pretty good trade with him, but he paid $300 for that, and the card's a $300 card. So
Yeah, and that's
you got to make sure.
That's without shipping and insurances and stuff like that. So really, you have to be super selective.
Definitely. Yeah, if not, you're really going to lose. I mean, that kid knew that he lost, and we both seen that corner that had that damage. So you got to make sure that you're selective. I still don't know if I would have even graded that card because, in my opinion, I don't know if it's worth it to Super Express, pay $350 of shipping and insurance to really grade a card that's $300. Maybe a Zion Silver to get or not Zion, but a LaMelo Silver to get the first 10 back, maybe. Maybe that would make sense right now because I feel like those are pretty high if you have a PSA 10. But past that, there's a few RPAs and things out there as well. But realistically, grading is pretty much at a stalemate right now across the board for all companies.
Okay. And I know you don't know football too well, but I know you're starting to get into it.
Yep.
A big football product that just got released this last week with Select Football, both in the hobby, the hybrid, and all new retail. So if you pull like a rookie auto from one of the quarterbacks there, are you super expressing it, or going to try to wait until July?
In my opinion, I really think it matters on what you're pulling. If you're pulling, I don't know if you're grading anything out of that besides maybe a Herbert Silver, maybe an auto of Herbert. I would really look at low-numbered stuff for most of the quarterbacks besides Herbert. I still don't think it makes sense to pay $300 to get some of that stuff back. I mean, obviously, everybody has different opinions on this. But looking at pricing, obviously Select's it's a really nice product. We've seen a lot of it ripped and seen some nice stuff come out of it. But, if you're, what we just seen a Jordan Love RPA get pulled out of Select to 50, it's about a $300 card. Am I super expressing a Jordan Love card? Probably not. What's your thoughts on that?
I probably am right in the same boat. It would have to be a high-end Tua, high-end Herbert, maybe even a Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts is kind of in that middle. I know we sold a box to one of our buddies, Jason. He pulled the gold RPA of Jordan Love. And he's only, I think that's sold for around $1,000. And I mean, when the boxes are costing $1,700 to $1,800, does it really make sense to, spend an extra, pretty much $400 after, taxes, fees, shipping, and all that for PSA to maybe get a 10?
Yeah, I think that's a card that we'll probably both agree. That's something that you sell right away as soon as that product comes out. Obviously he had a great box that he got from us, and you sell that right away. Or if you're a believer in Jordan Love, when stuff gets back to a little bit normal with grades and grading stuff, maybe that's a hold. Aaron Rodgers gets injured this year. Is Green Bay going to do what they did with Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers? We don't know. I mean, it's happened in the past. It could definitely happen. Mm-hmm. But it really all depends on, and then Jordan Love could be a complete bum. We haven't really seen him play in the NFL to be able to say how he's actually going to play. I like him. I do. But I think it's a sell right off the rip, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not really holding too many quarterbacks. I think the only one I'm really holding, besides Herbert, is Jalen, just because the NFC East is so weak. You can
and his stuff's not badly priced right now either, so it's not something where I think you're going to see it drop a lot.
No, yeah, I got an RPA at a rookie, the plates and patches. It was I think I got a good deal on it, but still, I paid 160 out of, it was to 15.
Yeah, that's a hold, obviously. I mean, that's a great deal. You can't go wrong there. So football. So kind of talking about selling, buying, grading. What do you think about the basketball class for this year? Obviously we had the hype with LaMelo. Really, he was the big hype. Last year's rookie class, everybody's saying this one's a lot weaker. I know we didn't really talk about asking this question, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are with that.
Well, LaMelo, I think, I heard he was coming back in a week now, 7 to 10 days. Almost 3 months closer than expected. So kind of seeing how he plans out is going to be key. But I think the one thing that you look at is like the markets that, for lower end teams, the Anthony Edwards of the world, the Tyrese Halliburtons, like the Kings and the Wolves aren't good. And like you have Quickly and Toppin in New York, and I think those two have a big chance to go up in value.
Yeah.
Wiseman's hurt, so his playoff is done. He tore his meniscus. But Toppin and Quickly, for the Knicks, they're going to be a 4 seed or a 5 seed and playing the Hawks. I think, if they win a not a championship, but if they win a series, and they score 15, 20 points. I mean, you saw with Bol last year in a preseason game, his stuff was what, 700% up at one point?
Oh, it was insane. Yeah, I mean, that's really all it takes in the market of sports cards that we have right now is people are really, and I would suggest to all of our listeners, it's something you really look at. Just because there's one hype game, it doesn't mean that that's a buy, right? We talk about it all the time, and we laugh. And honestly, sometimes we take advantage of definitely, obviously, selling some of these products when that hype happens because the opportunity to make, profit on it is huge. But I would suggest to a lot of people, look at Bol this year. What is a Prism? I don't know off the top of my head. What's a silver Bol PSA 10? I
just bought an SGC Bol Prism base 10 for $25.
Exactly. So a silver is maybe 100 in a PSA level, maybe. The guy, he doesn't really play. I mean, I've watched when he does play, he seems to play good, but he's, that Nuggets team, he's not getting playing time. Especially, they just got more players from Orlando in that trade. It just, nobody's really, if you're a rookie or a second-year tiered guy, you're really not getting a lot of playing time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. And, you talked about hype, and, I know you don't know too much about baseball, but Akil Baddoo for the Tigers was a big one. He started off hot from the gates. And then, like any other prospect, they figured him out. And, now he's, I think, 5 for his last 38 or something like that. His prices were up almost 700% again. And now, they're back to realistic level. So kind of just riding the, the hots and lows. I mean, if you're looking to sell quick, have them organized, have your, cards organized by rookie, by, player. And you'll end up, making a lot of money in the short-term games rather than holding long-term for a lot of players.
I agree. I think you said one key word, and that key word is being organized with your rookies. If you have – that's one thing I'll say. If you are ripping a lot of stuff like you and I do and a lot of people do out there, take care of those. Don't just, penny sleeve them at least. I get it if there's a top loader shortage like there is now. Take care of those. Put them organized by player, by sport, and keep them so when something does happen, you're ready to pull those. I know I've had this happen to me multiple times where I'm sitting down in my living room and I see prices on eBay just spiking like insanely. Like I have a buy it now on a card that sat there for 6 months, and I have 10 more of them upstairs. And I go upstairs, I list those, and they sell for more than the buy it now did because mine was obviously priced at a cheaper price. But being organized and being able to do that is huge for the profitability for, really depending on what your goal is with sports cards, it can definitely make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Gets you some money in your pocket as well to go into your bigger things in your PC.
Exactly.
So, one thing that we did kind of have planned on is, who are you buying?
Who am I buying? So I'm a big fan. So I'll start with just kind of this rookie class and a couple of the people I like. I think LaMelo Ball, obviously, like, it's kind of the guy everybody talks about, so I don't want to talk about him too much. But LaMelo Ball, I mean, his price has dropped. He got that injury. I mean, they are starting to come up already because people know he's coming back. He was very undervalued. When he came out of the gate and some of those prices came out where the hoops rookies were $200-$300, we all knew that was kind of hype based around his name and the family. You can pick up just the other day, I picked up a lot. I think Anthony Edwards is another good candidate, but I picked up 3 Donruss LaMelos and 3 Edwards LaMelos and a lot on eBay. And I think I paid $65. So I'm paying $10 a piece for all 6 of those cards. And there's a lot of good deals. The Prism's still a little bit higher. I think you're going to see that go. Obviously, it is going down quickly. But I like LaMelo a lot. Guys that maybe a lot of people don't think about. and don't play on a great team. So maybe they're not going to have the marketing and all that like quickly. And I like him as well. I'm a big fan of RJ Hampton going to Orlando. Had a couple good games. I was just actually looking at his stats before we had this today, and he hasn't played great in the last couple of games, but there's just not a lot of people on that team to take shots. Somebody's got to shoot the ball. Yep. So I really feel like maybe long term that's not the greatest, but short term, he pops off. He could put up 30 or 40 points pretty quickly, kind of like Tyrese Maxey did when Philly was injured, right? His cards like went up 1,000% in like 24 hours because he scored 38 points or 42 points, something like that. So big, but I like RJ Hampton quite a bit. I think he's going to be really good.
Okay, yeah, I think RJ Hampton's a good long term. Him and Cole Anthony out in Orlando. If Fultz comes back, that's an interesting dynamic. But I think one of them, or at least maybe two of them, comes out ahead in that situation because really they do got to score the basketball.
There's nobody left. They traded. Orlando traded their three best players for basically rookies. So somebody's got to put the points up on the board. And the way scoring is in the NBA in today's world, you have to have even if you're losing, you put up 110 points, and somebody has to score those points.
One guy I thought you were going to say, because I know me and you both have picked up at least one big card of his in the last two shows, is RJ Barrett.
We're both big RJ Barrett fans. We both have some pretty nice cards of him. I agree. I think, just like you said with Quickly, that market in New York, it's the biggest market in the country.
Basketball's better when the Knicks are winning. They're eight straight games right now.
When's the last time they made the playoffs? You're a Knicks fan. You know the year?
2013, 2000-ish. I know Carmelo was there.
Yeah, I know Carmelo made them once or twice of them. I mean, it's a long time. New York wants, they've always had the payroll there. They're always paying the players. They just haven't won the game. So with the market that's there and the cap of market that's there, it's such a huge city. I think it's usually valued, or if not always valued, as one of the most expensive franchises for sports in the world, let alone the United States. So I agree. I love RJ Barrett.
Yeah, for me, besides RJ, I'm also in the football world as well. I'm heavily invested in the Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts as well. Both of those guys, for their price point where they're at, I think it's definitely a buy. And then just in the basketball world, Anthony Davis as well, coming off the injury. He's due back tonight. Actually, he's playing against the Mavericks.
Okay.
I bought BGS 9.5 marquee rookie auto of his for $200. I checked comps, 8 months ago, and they were $1,000. So,
he's came down quite a bit. Yeah.
With him being hurt, and obviously LeBron's hurt. Just in general, I think maybe it's a buy. Even if it doesn't go up too much, it was a low end, low risk, high reward thing.
They win the championship, it goes back up to $1,000, right? I mean, that's the key.
I'd flip it in a couple months.
Yep.
But, in specific, with the basketball world with injuries, we've just mentioned that. There really isn't a clear-cut favorite for MVP, right now. Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm going with the Joker. I 100%. I like Joel Embiid. I think he's a very close second. I'm a fan of the big guy era for basketball. I like both those guys. They both evolved the game. We had talked about it. Joker. I don't know if he's still leading the league in assists. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, he's right up there.
He's right.
Yeah. So seeing the big guys shoot the three, be able to dish the ball, is great. I think Joel Embiid has an injury-prone problem. I mean, he's great. He's been very dominant. I've watched a lot of him play, and I've watched a lot of Jokic play. I see Jokic as being the winner of the MVP, but we really will see. What are they? Are they second in the West right now?
Second or third.
Second or third. I know Utah's number one,
and the Clippers are a close three.
Yeah.
They're right there because Mitchell's hurt right now. And Mitchell was someone I thought could have been it, but, actually I think Phoenix is three.
Phoenix, yeah, you're right. You're probably Phoenix is playing great ball. Got a really big bench.
And one player I think that, is not getting a lot of hype. Well, actually two players not getting a lot of hype for MVP is, Julius Randle, what he's doing for
Okay. Yeah.
That's a he right now. They're on an 8-game winning streak. Let's say they win at a 90% clip. I think they finished maybe even a 2 or 3 seed in the East at that point, because it is close. They're not that far back from the Bucks.
No, that's a great one. I didn't even think about. Julius Randle, obviously, not a lot of people are paying attention to him. When we kind of talked about him in the beginning of the season, he's really not doing anything much crazier than he did last year or the year before that. But he's playing for the Knicks, so he's getting the attention. I'd love to have numbers for that on the price of his Prism rookies. But they've increased how much? I mean, it's been insane.
Yeah, they've definitely. I'm just going to look real quick while I'm talking. His stat line for at least this season, because I know it was
25 or 26. It's got to be, right.
He was killing it last year, but I mean, he's actually went up. He just had 40 in the last game. So right now he's averaging 24, 10.5, and 6.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that's impressive.
And then the other player that is killing it is Steph Curry.
Boo.
And I knew you were going to say that, but at the same time, Magic Johnson kind of gave his recommendation. But I mean, to argue with what he's doing on the court for the Warriors team, who literally
they have nothing, right? I mean, they have nobody on their team. I don't disagree.
Andrew Wiggins is the only other player that can maybe put the ball in the basket. Draymond's a liability.
Yeah.
Other than that, Steph, he's dropping 40 points, for 10, 12 straight games. I know he had a bad game last night, but regardless.
Well, I think he made 10 3-pointers 5 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I mean, honestly, I'm a fan of the guy. Obviously, it's hard to give MVP to somebody who has I believe they have a losing record by 1 or 2 games right now. They're under 500. I think that's a great question though as well. You take Steph Curry off that team, who are they? They're the Detroit Pistons. They're probably worse. I mean, look at what they were last year.
Yeah, they top 3 pick basically. And I think, also you look at that and you have the same argument for Zion, where he's at. I mean,
I'm a Zion fan, and he's playing great
too. Like that's the weird. I know you don't like that stat too much, but player efficiency rating for any player, he was averaging 60+%, field goal.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he's at 62.5, averaging close to 26. His rebounds are up. They're playing him as a point guard now, point forward. So he's getting more assists. He can pass the ball. He is shooting a little bit more. I know a lot of people are talking about Zion shooting, and honestly, does he need to shoot threes? No. You look at his shot chart, and it's 2 feet away from the rim, and he's shooting 62.5%. He doesn't right now. He doesn't have to shoot anywhere else because he's fine.
Yeah, and he goes 11 from 15 from the field, gets a couple free throws. He's got 25, 30 points. He's a walk. Exactly. Him and Luka are going to be fun to watch for the next decade.
Definitely.
So
it's definitely up and coming guys.
As far as kind of that, if you had to locked in a glass room, gun to your head, who you picking for MVP? Joker?
I'm going with Joker.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that could disagree with me. There's a lot of people who probably would disagree with me. I think it's I agree. There's no clear-cut winner. I wouldn't want a gun to my head in the room because I think it's tough. It's a toss-up. I think, to be quite honest, the rest of the season, how many more games are left? 10?
Roughly 15, I think.
15? Okay. The next 15 games, what I will say is this. The next 15 games are going to decide who wins the MVP because nobody's a clear-cut winner right now.
Yeah, and I think, we have people like Luka. We don't even talk about Luka, but
no,
he's averaging 39 and 9. You got,
Zion. James Harden before he got hurt. I mean,
unfortunately, I think he just got a setback. So I think he got his wind out of his sails for MVP. He's due back like with the last week of the season. So
gotcha. Okay.
I think for him, he is
a lot of injuries this year. A lot of key injuries to a lot of key guys that you don't usually see.
Right, and now it's really one of those years where we're in kind of the twilight zone for everything. It feels like LeBron got hurt, Mitchell got hurt. Every top team is at an injury.
If you look at a lot of those top teams who played late into the playoffs last year because of COVID and everything, how much time did they truly have off?
Yeah.
I mean, how much time did LeBron have off? The guy's, he's, what is he, 37, 36?
36 this year, yeah.
Yeah, 36. I mean, guys that are getting up to that age and have played in the NBA for almost 20 years, it's not, a month and a half, it's not good on their bodies. Those guys need time to – and I think that's what you're seeing. I mean, like, honestly, even James Harden, who's not crazy old, a lot of those guys are not used to even though James Harden really didn't play. But a lot of guys didn't have the proper conditioning. I mean, Luka even said he came in out of shape. He's a young guy, and he came in out of shape. So
he looked like he literally came on. He was on vacation, and they were like, Luka, it's not 3 months of off this year. It's a month, and he's like, not speaking speaking a foreign language most of the time, and
yeah.
He's like, really?
I mean, he definitely looked 30 pounds overweight. I mean, there's no doubt. He admitted it.
Though he played. He got. It was like the first week where his stuff kind of tanked, and then after that, he back to his normal self.
Agreed. No, he's playing great now.
Other than that, we got baseball kind of heating up. I think a lot of players are, doing their thing in baseball. I know you don't really watch it too much, but
not a big baseball guy, no.
With baseball, it's just watching the flows. Sometimes you get hot out the gates, sometimes you don't. Doubleheaders aren't going too well for the teams and stuff like that due to the COVID restrictions. But hey, it's the summer sport of American pastime. So
I mean, what can we all agree upon is last year at this time we had no sports.
Yeah,
we have sports right now. I that's what I'll say is I'm thankful that I can turn on the TV at almost any time after 4:00, noon, and there's some sort of sports on. ESPN was getting pretty boring there for a while with nothing to watch. So I think anybody who's beyond just a card enthusiast, anybody who's a fan of sports in general is obviously really excited that COVID did not take our leagues out this year.
Yeah, it was really weird looking forward to last year's sports because they were all 30 for 30s, and that's what we were looking forward to day to day.
No.
So, as far as, things to kind of wrap it up, I think we can probably start this is the one card, one player that's the hot tip.
Okay.
Who would you give, a for sure bet on?
For sure bet. Sports card. Ooh. Man, that's tough. I have anybody right now. I feel like basketball, even football is all over the place right now. I'll be honest with you. I think long term, are we talking or short term?
Let's say within for a flip potential within the next 6 months.
6 months, I would say to be quite honest, really Herbert Silvers, either select or Prism.
Okay. And
especially if you can get, or an RPA of them as well, if you can get it express and get a 10 and have that only one, because we don't really know when PSA is coming back. So I think Herbert is going to be huge. All he has to do is go off in half a preseason game. It doesn't even have to be regular season. I think you're going to see stuff explode.
Yep.
Or RJ Barrett. He would be my second guy because his stuff's still so cheap, and he puts up 30 points in a playoff game. Stuff could get crazy. Those are my two guys.
Okay. I am going to go with Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Tops PSA.
Timmy. I'm a huge fan.
Yep. For him, I look at Kobe's and, compared to Tim Duncan's, they don't really make much sense why the difference in price is going. He's getting elected into the Hall of Fame. The 10s are a lot harder to get for Duncan. I think, Pop Report will kind of even out, and I think that card will eventually surpass the tops for Kobe's.
It should. It all depends. We talk about it. There's not a lot of love for the guy right now, or ever has, because he didn't have a personality.
Yep.
The big fundamental.
I think that's just something, I think looking at it, that's where I put some money into for Duncan, graded cards. So
cool. I like it.
Other than that, I think once a week we're going to be doing this as far as kind of having a chat. With the Greaseball sports card stuff, we're obviously going into doing some breaks eventually down the line. But really, we're just focused on getting our, name out there. I know, just the grassroots movement. You've been at stores getting people to run up to you. I know I got a call at work today about it, which was, interesting. And I think it's just getting out there, and it's kind of a good time to really, have something new and going on.
100% agreed. Great time. Obviously, all sports card enthusiasts. Sports cards are insanely hot right now. Sports in general are hot. Creating a name for Greaseball, really getting our name out there to, just really everybody. And it's not 100% about just, even breaks, just giving out knowledge to people, talking about sports. I think we'll have obviously some special guests on the shows and interviewing and talking to them and kind of getting their perspective, maybe even, local athletes, sports shop, maybe some owners of some sports shops, maybe, just anybody really kind of, the passion we have for sports cards and the fun we all have doing it, the camaraderie of it all. I think that's one of the keys.
Yeah. And, one thing I've heard, you said the camaraderie and, local sports card shop owners is a lot of people have asked, why are you guys doing this? Are you guys trying to take business from people? Are you guys trying to do this? No, honestly, it's just something that, we want to make a brand for ourselves, on Instagram, Twitterverse, Facebook, as well as kind of local, that, we mean business for these card shows, as well as just kind of, if you guys need something, we have some higher end stuff as well. And, as a team, it's, a better collective for us going forward.
I agree. I couldn't have said it better.
And so, with that being said, guys, if you guys do take the time to watch this stuff, I do appreciate it. And remember to stay greasy out there, okay?
Stay greasy.
Mm-hmm.